Global warming is one of the greatest issues that humanity is currently facing. The slow rise of Earth's temperature has been caused by greenhouse gases that are emitted into the atmosphere through the burning of fossil fuels to create electricity that we use in our everyday lives. And the warmer temperatures have dire effects to the environment. Research shows that a third of plants and animal species on Earth will become extinct in 50 years due to the effects of climate change, and many animals are already suffering from these effects. Homes of many species have already been damaged, which can be seen in colder areas where animals such as polar bears are struggling in a melting environment, and other areas in the world, such as beaches, where the rise of sea levels have reduced nesting grounds for turtles, and even reduced the male population significantly. The emission of greenhouse gases has other detrimental effects as well. According to the World Health Organization, 4.2 million people die each year due to health issues that stem from air pollution created from the burning of fossil fuels, such as lung cancer and heart disease. With this, the only effective way to combat climate change and air pollution that fossil fuel-based energy creates is to find an alternative fuel source that we can utilize to fulfill our energy needs. However, according to the UN, we only have 10 years until the effects of climate change are irreversible, and with this, it is likely that we only have one shot. So what are the possible options? Well, there are renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, hydroelectric, and geothermal power. However, they all have major drawbacks that limit their viability. For instance, geothermal power plants need to be built on hotspots, which are only located on very specific locations on the Earth. Solar and wind energy both have the inherent issue of relying on a source that can be inconsistent, such as how the weather can greatly affect how much sunlight or wind speed there is. Additionally, the waste created from both broken solar panels and wind turbine blades are not recycled, and are simply sent to the landfill. In some countries, such as China and India, the waste from old solar panels are burnt, releasing toxic fumes from the burning plastic in order to salvage copper wire. Finally, there is hydroelectric, and unfortunately, it has a plethora of issues. The creation of dams that are used in this form of energy production has disastrous effects on the environment, such as blocking migration routes for many species of fish such as salmon, and blocking sediment flow, which causes the river's bed downstream to erode. Another danger is if a hydroelectric dam breaks, releasing all the stored water that it was holding back and causing catastrophic damage. For instance, in 1975, Bangkok Dam in China failed and broke after a massive typhoon, resulting in many villages being instantly wiped out. And although the exact count varies due to the Chinese government covering up this disaster, it's estimated that 260,000 people died from this collapse of the dam. So with this, what would be the best energy source to help combat carbon emissions? Well, there is another energy source that can fulfill our energy needs without having a detrimental impact on the environment: nuclear. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Yes, when bringing up nuclear energy, most people think about devastating nuclear disasters, ticking time bombs that are just ready to blow up and decimate the area with poisonous radiation. However, in reality, it's the complete opposite. Nuclear power production is incredibly safe. The data is showing that it has 442 times less deaths than coal, 250 times less than oil, and 338 times less deaths than natural gas. So if nuclear power is safe to use, why is it frowned upon? Well, it is due to nuclear power's association with nuclear weapons. At the end of the Second World War, the only two nuclear weapons used in battle were on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, bringing destruction which humanity had never seen before. Shortly after, the Cold War began, and the United States and the Soviet Union began a nuclear arms race, creating a massive stockpiles of nuclear weapons. Ever since, the danger of nuclear annihilation has been a genuine threat to the world and was a constant fear throughout the Cold War. Due to this, anti-nuclear movements began in various countries around the world, and unfortunately, nuclear power was pumped into it. The public did not understand it since it was extremely new. People thought that nuclear power was akin to the horrifying nuclear weapons, and that association has stuck ever since. Additionally, nuclear disasters such as 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl has only made public perception even worse, especially since reports of these events have been over-dramatized due to the association of nuclear weapons. Due to this, most people do not know the real extent of these events. During Chernobyl, the largest nuclear disaster in history, outside of the workers and media emergency response crew, the vast majority of the affected population did not face health issues related to radiation. In fact, according to UN reports, the radiation levels in surrounding areas were only slightly higher than natural levels, and fewer than 50 deaths have been directly attributed to the disaster. Moving on to the more recent Fukushima Daiichi meltdown in Japan, there were only 2 deaths that occurred in the power plant during the disaster, but both of them were directly related to the earthquake that struck right before. Additionally, the International Atomic Energy Agency reports that there were no radiation-related deaths during the event, and the greatest concern was mental health, with many survivors suffering from PTSD and anxiety. Comparing these two incidents to the Bangpao Dam failure, which had 260,000 deaths, it is evident that nuclear power is not the deadliest means of power production. Ever since Fukushima, nuclear power plants around the world has also implemented even more safety measures to prevent these disasters from occurring, such as greater blood barriers in Japan and increased stress tests in Europe and America. Even with these improvements, many people are still afraid of nuclear power. Something that may be contributing to this fear is that people are afraid that nuclear material in these power plants can be weaponized into nuclear bombs. However, there are many treaties and agreements that are already in place that limit countries' ability to manufacture these weapons. For example, the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons is a treaty signed by 191 states that prevents countries that do not own nuclear weapons from making them, and also prevents countries who already own nuclear weapons, such as the United States and Russia, from promoting their creation. We choose nuclear power over other renewable sources. The greatest advantage of nuclear power is that it has massive energy output. According to the U.S. Office of Nuclear Energy, a nuclear power plant can provide 1.5 to 2 times more power when compared to a natural gas and coal plant, and 2.5 to 3.5 times more than solar and wind plants. The best part is that all this power is created with zero carbon emissions. This lack of air pollution from nuclear energy has saved 7 million lives by replacing fossil fuel plants that would have emitted dangerous toxins in its place. The only waste to come out of nuclear production is the decayed nuclear material. At first, this may seem like a crucial flaw to nuclear powers. Nuclear waste is indeed dangerous if left out on its own. However, a lot of care is put into the storage of nuclear waste, either storing them into special cooling pools or in concrete containers. Although these forms of storage do require some maintenance, these storage devices allow us to do something that no other energy source does: safely contain all harmful byproducts. Fossil fuels allow greenhouse gases to float freely into the atmosphere, and waste from solar panels and wind turbines goes straight to the dump, left to leak chemicals into the ground, while nuclear waste is safely contained. Additionally, there have been technological advancements that have made the storage of nuclear waste even safer. Recently, a nuclear repository has been completed in Finland, and was built deep enough underground to safely store nuclear waste indefinitely without any maintenance or harm to the environment. With these benefits, nuclear power deserves to be seen as a viable answer to the current climate change crisis. It safely produces a great amount of electricity with zero carbon emissions, and the waste that is produced from nuclear energy production is safely contained. The only thing truly standing in the way is public perception, as many people still associate nuclear power with destructive nuclear weapons. Fortunately, public opinion is beginning to come around, as many prominent people are starting to change their opinions and are now supporting nuclear power. People such as Bill Gates and Robert Downey Jr. are beginning to voice their support for nuclear energy.
It's like half the people that were out there, saying, no nukes and shut down the power plants, they're now realizing that some would say, nuclear is the best way to go for energy for the future. So I think it's natural to re-examine your beliefs as you age up.
With this, it is time for people to re-examine nuclear power because it may be our only shot to combat climate change before it's too late. So go on to the rest of the website to find out more about rethinking about nuclear energy.